Alright, ladies and gents, back with the map series. We are doing Erlenberg. So, honestly, these maps really, the actual maps haven't changed. It's essentially what they've did is added just a lot of foliage, and they've flattened out a lot of the maps. What we see here is there used to be the big ridge over here to this side, and that is gone now. They've added some piles of rubble here in this part of the town, a little bit more cover and whatnot. So we're going to actually take a look off on the right hand side of the river here. Now we all know right here there used to be a large set of ridge starting about here or so. This used to be a ridge that would run all the way up here to the top. Now that this has changed, there is a certain, I don't know, if you're an arty player with these flattened out maps, it kind of gives a little bit of you're going to have a little bit better time of it. There's not these steep hills and stuff that you have to deal with. Once again, if you're an arty player, you know what I'm talking about. With these essentially flattened out maps, they've created a little bit easier of a time for shooting. This one's roughly not quite as steep as the original one was, but it's still a fair shot to get over the top. They've added in a windmill, another house on this side. We have apparently a indestructible house on this corner here. This was never here before. These used to be able to be broken down, which is going to give a lot of play for tanks that are pushing down this line. Same way with the hill here, they've added a lot more coverage. We're probably going to be seeing a fair amount of TD play up here on the top of this hill. Yeah, there's a lot more coverage here for TDs. And the fact that they've added it back a little bit of ways, there's different angles here to shoot at with. Any tank with any sort of gun depression in the medium category is going to have a little bit better of a time here, and it's going to be much harder for them to be spotted with all this trees in the way. So yeah, big changes here. I would still say this is probably going to end up being with these changes, I'm not sure. This typically used to be kind of more of a medium TD line on this side, with the heavies and what stuff going on the other side. But now I think you're going to see a lot more play on both sides, whether it's heavy or medium going this side or going the other side. We're going to check out back here. They've gotten rid of the ridge that used to sit here, but they've added this little interesting chunk of land back here. We have some hardcover and a house, as well as a fair amount of foliage here. So I'm thinking, once again, this is going to be entirely about TDs. I don't know if this is something I've noticed a lot of changes in these maps about better places for TDs to sit. And this is just another example of it right here. They got rid of that other ridge up on the top that was out a little bit closer. They've backed it up. They've added more coverage, more foliage for TDs to sit in. So yeah, this line here, I would say the 0 line is going to be an absolute pain in the ass to push if there's a bunch of TDs. And even artillery, I'd say this side probably has the advantage. The A90 area and down is going to have, in my opinion, probably going to have the advantage over the other side, just because of this, the way they've set this up. They've moved it back far enough now, and all that kind of stuff. So they've taken this flattened area out here and they've kind of built it all up with a bunch of different little ridges and whatnot. Very interesting. They're going to have lots of areas here. I wish they'd put the fucking red line back in so I'd stop running into shit. What are you going to do? So, yeah, even from here, there is absolutely some nice, being able to take some nice shots up on that hill, at least, for sure. This is going to turn into a pretty heavy TD map, in my opinion. You're going to have so much cover for TDs to sit. This is not going to be an easy line to push if you have the other team has a fair amount of TDs. They've gotten rid of the big block here. They've opened up the town immensely right in here. Yeah, this is going to be highly entertaining. They've taken out. Oh, we still have the water crossing here. If you're interested in that, the bridges are quite a bit narrower. It used to be able to fit 2 across here. Now you're going to be lucky. Yeah, there's going to be more people dying on this map. Jesus fuck. They have a hard enough time to get out of spawn, let alone drive across the bridge. Once again, TD's sitting here at camp. This is going to, just looking at it here with the render range, anything on top of that hill is going to get fucking wrecked by any tank destroyers. So I'm thinking that probably the AB over to the 67890 line, this is going to be a heavily defended, at least by if there's TDs or some hull down tanks. This is going to be a tough line to push from the south. So we got that. They've added a building here into the center cap, 2 buildings into the center cap. One is destructible, the other one doesn't look like it is destructible. Interesting. So let's go take a wander down through the river side of this map. They've moved, looks like they've moved a lot of the buildings in closer and kind of tightened up the center of the map here. Yeah, I would say we're going to see a lot of medium and possibly even heavy play in here. Right down these relatively tight quarters here and these narrow streets. We might see a little bit more of a heavy play here. At least, they've turned it into essentially kind of like a little mini Himmelsdorf. This is not going to be an easy place for artillery to drop shells into with all these buildings. I'm almost positive now this is probably going to end up seeing a lot more heavy play, maybe down center, than you will that you're going to see on the outside edges. These little town along the river here offers a lot of cover. Like I said, once again, depending on the sides and whatnot. So let's, like I said, once again, let's just stroll down through here. Lots and lots of cover. Yeah, I'm almost guessing this is going to be maybe the new heavy push meta going down the center here with all this big cover here. I haven't seen it yet in the few games that I've played, but I think people are going to start realizing that the center push is very possible on this map. Of course, all depending on what's on your left and what's on your right. But with the amount of cover here, it's a very doable thing. I mean, I think once again, this is all going to be dependent on the players too. But that's one of the hard arty cover right here is that center from the 4-5-6 line all the way down. So let's take a look at the rest of the left side of the map here. They've opened it up. They've knocked out the big hunk of the big hill that was here that everybody used to play off of. They've opened it up. Wow, they've opened it up. This is going to be an very interesting to actually do. If there's not a very quick push to that castle, it could be interesting if you catch guys out here in the open right here. So what do we have over here? We have a little bit of riverbanks. We still have some areas, this is definitely a possibility for artillery. Back in here in this corner right here, covering the castle. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be a very good spot unless you're specifically looking to shoot at things at the castle, because you're only going to get really one line of shots here. Same way with TDs. Once again, they've created kind of a pretty nice shooting lane. If you have good camo and whatnot, you're going to be able to hunker into these bushes and do a lot of support off that corner. I mean, these are all some things you're going to have to be thinking about if you're pushing on any of these new maps, is make sure you're paying attention to, does that look crossable? Yeah, it looks crossable. So, across the other side, huh, All right. Once again, lots of cover here. Probably going to be a real nice TD spot, or just about anything with some decent gun depression. Actually, I'm even making the 907 work here. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. With these changes here, are you going to see a lot of shots on that corner? I don't know, depending on how the enemy push. So let's roll back out of this river. I think what you're seeing here is going to be a little bit more of a... I'm not sure if Wargaming is trying to open up these maps, because you always have a 1-2 line and a 9-0 line. That's what you get. That's where you tend to see where most of the game played is on the outside edges. With these added features, especially like with Glacier last night with that added ridge, and now you have this essentially a very dense center town. I'm not sure if this is Wargaming's attempt at letting the players be a little more dynamic in their play style. You know, I could definitely see a lot of lights, mediums pushing and playing the center. I could definitely see a lot of heavies playing that center, being that it's relatively already safe. The castle has changed to a certain degree. You know, we're getting hull down tanks on the corners here. Same way with here. Pushing up into here, you know, moving side scraping, all that kind of stuff. They've added some interesting holes. You got an 88 right there, kind of cool. Yeah, so there's going to be some interesting gameplay here, and I can't for sure, once again, say what's going to be the current meta until everything gets played out a little bit. I'm just giving you guys kind of my ideas and suggestions about how to play these maps with these different changes. This, like I said, is probably going to be, once again, another meat grinder with these big, large buildings here for being artillery safe. I mean, you can play, looks like this low road, you have a good chunks of rubble here to side scrape off of, hull down, that kind of things. Yeah, it could be interesting. They give it a little bit of a, yeah, here we go. But once again, you know, it's going to be depend on what you're going to be able to shoot at anyway. But there is a lot of rubble. There is a lot of places to hold down. There is a fair amount of there's going to be some dynamic gameplay here until these maps get really figured out what's going to be the best way to play here. So far, I'm seeing is lots of TD positions have been added. Lots of firing lanes have been added, at least in the two maps that I've did so far with Glacier and now this one at Erlenberg. There's definite possibilities of TDs working into position. This, of course, hill has been knocked down by quite a bit. This is only going to get probably played by mediums with some sort of gun depression, that kind of thing. Yeah, I don't think TDs are going to be able to sit up here on this hill anymore and shoot at things over that way. They're just the Strebs might be able to make this work, but most TDs are not going to be able to. T30 probably will with some gun depression, but this is not going to be like the hill like last time. Obviously, the castle's been moved ahead, but like I said, it's creating. You're seeing a lot of these maps. It seems like they're creating lots of firing lanes for TDs. This is going to be a difficult map, and this is why I'm thinking that the center of this map is going to be more important than the outside edges. You get enough TDs, yep, right here, they've built essentially a sniper hole or a TD platform with heavy cover for, yeah, very heavy cover. They've put enough, okay, apparently stay off the edges because they have a tendency to fuck your game up. TDs, tanks with gun depression, these are going to be hard defensive positions to push. I'm saying this is most likely the mirror of the opposite corner at 9-0. You know, pushing 1-2, you're going to have to deal with defensive players sitting here with in TDs, good gun depression, all that kind of stuff. This is going to be a hard line to push from the north on the 1-2. Same way it seems like on the other corner where it's going to be a hard line to push the 9-0. Like I said, it almost looks like they are prompting you maybe to start playing more of the center, you know, you get 3-4 TDs, you know, in either one of these corners, whether it's this corner at K or the other corner at A. It's going to be a hard push. It's going to be a real hard push if you get good TD players. Let's see here what we got over here. A little fjord. Once again, you can cross. Apparently, you can cross the river here. Yep, this is where you get to cross the river here. Changed it up a little bit, but they do offer a little bit more cover here. You know, specifically if there's a push, that side fails or whatever, you have something to push against. Same way with this side. If this side fails, you have something to get some cover into. All right. So, what do we got so far? In my opinion, I think this is going to be a very it's still going to be hard to say. I would say that we're going to see a lot more action here in the center for a successful push than we will on the outside edges. This is also going to depend on tank composition. You know, if either team is heavily TD'd and whatnot, I think the 9-0 and the 1-2, depending on which way you spawn, is going to be a very hard push. You're going to have to leave cover. There's a lot of open ground on both sides. You know, you do win this side here, and you push out, and you're going to have to deal with all that open ground to get to. Same way with the other side. You break out, and you're going to have to push into a fair amount of open ground to get over there. That's why I'm almost thinking, because you notice as you get through the town here, if you can get through town, once you break out of town and you get down into these positions, it's fairly easy to flank both the A0 and the K1 area from this side. You have a fair amount of cover. You can push up in here. You got, you know, bushes. You got little hillsides. You got buildings to push in here into the backside and get into around to the TD positions. That's what I'm saying. And you notice on the other side was the same way. When you got to the A5-6 area, there's a gully that runs all the way up into the A0 area. I'm not sure, but like I said, this is something to think about when you're looking at these maps and you're playing them. I'm thinking that the center is going to be quite a bit more playable than what it used to be with the sheer amount of buildings they've added and the cover and all that kind of stuff. So I hope you guys are enjoying this series. I'm going to try to do one of these maps at least once a day, try to give you a little idea what we're going to see here and that kind of stuff, and of course try to do a little bit of gameplay too. So thanks Master Chief for jumping in here with me. I needed somebody to help me with this trading room and give me give me some help here. It's hard to do a training room while you're by yourself. So I'm gonna I would kill him, you know, but you know, hey, he's only at tier 5. That might be he's got a tier 3. That's all that matters. So down the water we go. Let's see how far we can go before we drown. And we're gonna be out in 6 seconds. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll try to keep these videos coming for you guys to get a little bit better idea about these maps.